As you know, we've just heard from a couple of politicians who are facing an election, and as Barry alluded to, our next guest is one who has faced an election and triumphed. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ireland's newly appointed Minister for Children, Frances Fitzgerald.
Prime Minister Gillard, Premier Keneally, Mr Abbott, Mr O'Farrell, distinguished ministers, senators and members, Consul General, Reverend Fathers, Chairman and members of the Lansdowne Club Board, and distinguished guests, one and all. I've just come from a rather tough political campaign in Ireland, but I have to say, after listening to the speeches and the rich political commentary, Irish politics suddenly seems rather calm and even staid. Thank you indeed for the invitation to be here with you today. I'm delighted to be here on such a special day for Ireland with so many friends of Ireland and celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Lansdowne Club. It is remarkable how the organisation has grown and flourished since it was founded in 1986. I would like to thank Prime Minister Gillard for her kind words and also for her attendance here this afternoon, which is a clear indication of the ongoing strength and depth of the relationship, not only between Ireland and Australia, but also between the Australian authorities and the Irish-Australian community. I have to say that I do take particular satisfaction from the Prime Minister's attendance at the event, given that it is St. Patrick's Day. Now, this has been mentioned already, and accounts do vary as to where the saint was born. But according to some histories of St. Patrick, he came from the banks of the Severn estuary in Wales. As we all know, he subsequently committed his life to furthering the cause of the Irish. And that given that Prime Minister shares his reputed birthplace, we can only hope that there's something in the water in that part of the world that causes important people to dedicate themselves to Ireland. Even outside of those connected to our patron saint, it's good to see that the Irish continue to be well represented in Australian political life, most particularly in the upcoming elections in New South Wales. I think it's safe to assume that second names like Keneally and O'Farrell prove Irish connections. I have to say I was a bit startled, as I said, having just come from the elections in Ireland and having come out the other side successfully. It is a bit startling to come into this atmosphere and this election fever, and for a moment I was brought right back into the middle of the campaign. But obviously the links between Ireland and Australia have always been strong, but this year is a special one for the Irish here. The National Museum of Australia in Canberra is hosting a wonderful exhibition, which I saw yesterday. Not Just Ned, the true story of the Irish in Australia. But I have to say, looking around the room here today and meeting all of you and seeing the huge vibrancy and energy in the room and during the speeches, it is quite clear that the best parts of the history may not yet have been written. The Irish community in Australia has much to give this nation, and I believe that there is much our two nations can gain from forging even stronger links with each other. My government has recently taken office and undoubtedly faces huge challenges, but we will face them with resolve and with ambition. Those are characteristics the Irish share with the Australians. Australia clearly showed in its response to the Queensland floods and Cyclone Yasi that adversity must be met head-on with resilience, flexibility, and above all, a community working together. And it showed that with sufficient dedication, any problem is surmountable. At present, Ireland has to address the problems left by a property and credit bubble, but these problems, I want to say to you, are manageable. The critical thing from our perspective is not to let the challenge of dealing with short-term fiscal issues eclipse all the positives that are happening. Our exports are growing fast, and our international trade networks, both formal and informal, are growing every day. In Ireland, we are blessed that our community comprises more than those just on our small island. We have a global Irish community made up of individuals and organisations, and it is through the work of Irish networks like the Lansdowne Club that connections can be made and opportunities harnessed so that we can all work together to ensure that Ireland's economy returns to a pattern of sustainable growth. Our new government for national recovery will get the economy moving, will restore confidence, fix our banking system, and support the protection and creation of jobs so essential for our country now. We are determined to rebuild Ireland's reputation internationally. We know that we have a job to do, and we also want to drive export-led economic recovery. And we are committed to reducing the general government deficit to less than 3% of GDP by 2015. I want to say to you that Ireland is emerging from recession and the fundamentals in our trading economy are strong. We've many indicators of that, and we do continue to attract a large amount of foreign direct investment, including 126 new projects last year, thanks in part to our large skilled workforce and ease of doing business in Ireland. As a nation whose economic growth depends on exports and a good international reputation, Ireland must ensure that the positive stories about our economy are heard, and you can all play a unique role in that. Did you know that we are the world's second largest exporters of computer and IT services, just behind India and ahead of the US and the UK? We are the 5th largest exporters of beef in the world. If you have a medical stent fitted anywhere in the world, there's an 80% chance that the technology of an Irish company will be used. And Ireland is amongst the largest net exporters of pharmaceuticals in the world. So these are impressive achievements, and they are achievements that we will build on. But our greatest asset endures, and that is our people. Whether it's in Dublin or Dubbo, Sligo or Sydney, the positive image created by the skills, energy and humour, well illustrated today, and demonstrated by Irish people going about their daily work, is a national resource and treasure that money cannot buy. And as Australia's premier Irish business network, the Lansdowne Club gives an important focus for our business people here. It allows Irish people to work with and for each other. And on this, your 25th anniversary, I congratulate you all and wish you all the very best for the next 25 years and beyond. A very happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you very much indeed.